Welcome back to the channel. Today, we have an exciting story for you. This is a perfect way to enjoy English listening practice through stories. So grab a comfortable seat and get ready. And remember, if you love English listening practice through stories with subtitles, make sure to subscribe for more amazing videos. Now, let's begin. The Skyrocket. The world held its breath. For years, scientists had searched the stars for a planet like Earth, a place that could hold life. Now, 5 astronauts were about to leave everything behind to explore the unknown. Their destination? Erebus 9, a mysterious exoplanet 30 light-years away. No human had ever traveled so far before. This was history in the making. A team like no other. Inside the massive space station, 5 crew members made their final preparations. They were the best of the best, hand-picked for this mission. Each of them had different skills, but they shared the same dream: to go beyond the stars. Captain Ethan Blake, Commander Ethan, stood in front of the large window, looking at the spaceship that would take them into the unknown, the Skyrocket. It was sleek, powerful, and built for long space travel. As the leader, Ethan knew this mission was dangerous. Anything could go wrong. But he had spent years training for this moment, and he wasn't about to let fear stop him. "This is it," he said quietly to himself. "We're making history." Dr. Sophia Carter, astrobiologist. Sophia adjusted her research equipment, making sure everything was in perfect order. Her job was to study any signs of life on Erebus 9. "What if we really find something out there?" she whispered, excitement and nerves mixing inside her. For years, she had dreamed of this moment. The idea that life might exist beyond Earth had driven her to study the stars. Now, she had the chance to prove it. Lieutenant Ryan Cole, pilot Ryan the pilot, sat in the simulator one last time, gripping the controls. He had flown jets and space shuttles, but the Skyrocket was something different. "Can't afford to mess this up," he muttered, taking a deep breath. He loved adventure, but this mission was his biggest challenge yet. If anything went wrong during launch, it would be on him to fix it. Fast. Dr. Ava Sinclair, engineer. Ava checked the ship's systems for the 10th time that day. Everything needed to be perfect. If one thing failed, the crew might never return. "Engines are stable, oxygen levels normal," she said, reviewing the data. She had always been the problem solver, the one who stayed calm under pressure. This mission would test all her skills. Noah Reed, communications specialist. Noah adjusted his headset, running tests to make sure they could stay in contact with Earth. His job was to keep them connected, and if something strange happened, to decode any unknown signals. "Signal check. All systems green," he reported. He had studied interstellar communication for years, but deep inside he wondered, would something or someone be listening? Final countdown hours passed quickly, and soon it was time. The crew suited up and walked toward the Skyrocket. The ship stood tall, surrounded by bright lights and a sea of engineers making final checks. Inside the cockpit, Ethan gave his final orders. "Strap in, this is it." Everyone took their seats. The countdown began. T-10, 9, 8. The engines roared to life, shaking the ground. The power of the ship was incredible. 7, 6, 5. Sophia closed her eyes, thinking about the stars beyond. Ryan tightened his grip on the controls. Ava whispered a silent prayer. 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. Flames and smoke filled the air as the Skyrocket blasted off, breaking through Earth's atmosphere. The force pushed them back into their seats, their bodies shaking. As they left Earth behind, a deep silence filled the cabin. The blue planet faded into the distance, replaced by endless blackness. Ethan looked around at his crew and smiled. Welcome to space. Their journey had begun.
Sorry for the interruption, guys. You can see captions in your language. Just press the caption button, then select your country. If you don't see your language, let me know in the comments and I'll add it for you. Let's get back to listening.
The skyrocket glided smoothly through the darkness of space, its engines humming softly. The Earth was now a distant blue dot behind them, and the vast emptiness ahead was both breathtaking and terrifying. Inside the spacecraft, everything seemed to be going as planned. The crew had settled into their routine, running system checks, adjusting to zero gravity, and preparing for their long journey to Erebus 9. Captain Ethan Blake floated near the command station, monitoring the ship's status. "Everything looks good so far," he said, his voice calm. Beside him, Lieutenant Ryan Cole, the ship's pilot, stretched his arms. "Honestly, this is smoother than I expected. I thought we'd be bouncing off the walls by now." Dr. Sophia Carter, the mission's astrobiologist, peered out of the window. The endless void fascinated her. "It's strange," she murmured. "We're surrounded by nothing, but it feels like something is out there." Ava Sinclair, the ship's engineer, rolled her eyes. "Let's hope that something is just space dust. We have enough to worry about without adding aliens to the list." The crew chuckled, but their laughter was cut short when a warning light flashed on the control panel. Ava's smile faded. "That's not good. A problem in the systems." The warning light pulsed in a slow, steady rhythm. A yellow alert, which meant something was wrong, but not critical. Yet. "What's happening?" Ethan asked, his tone serious. Ava quickly unstrapped herself and floated toward the engine diagnostic panel. Her fingers moved swiftly over the controls, checking each system. "Looks like a minor fluctuation in the oxygen circulation," she said. "Nothing major, but if we don't fix it, we could have trouble with air levels later." Ryan let out a nervous laugh. "So basically, breathing is optional now?" Ava shot him a look. "Not funny." Ethan remained calm. "Can you fix it?" Ava nodded. "Yeah, just give me a minute." Ava moved through the ship toward the mechanical access panel, where the oxygen filtration system was located. The tight, dimly lit space was filled with wires, pipes, and blinking indicators. She took a deep breath and opened the panel. Inside, a small filtering valve was vibrating slightly, struggling to maintain pressure. "Found the issue," she called out. "The secondary filter is clogged. It's slowing down the oxygen flow." "Can you clean it?" Ethan asked over the intercom. "Yeah, but it's tricky in zero gravity," she replied, reaching for her tool bag. Using one hand to keep herself steady, she carefully removed the filter. Tiny ice-like particles floated into the air as she pulled it free. "Well, that's weird," she muttered. "What is it?" Noah's voice came through the comms. Ava turned the filter in her hands. It was frozen, something that shouldn't happen in a controlled environment. "The moisture levels must be off," she said. "That could explain the clog. I'll replace it with a spare." She quickly swapped the filter and secured the panel back into place. The warning light on the control panel disappeared. "Fixed," she said with a satisfied grin. Ethan's voice came through the comms. "Nice work. Let's hope that's the last issue we have for a while." But deep down, Ava had a bad feeling. Something about the frozen filter didn't sit right with her. The crew was just starting to relax when Noah, the communications officer, noticed something strange. Guys?" he said, adjusting his headset. Earth isn't responding. Ethan turned to him. What do you mean? I mean, I sent a routine status update 5 minutes ago, and I haven't gotten a reply. Ryan frowned. Maybe it's just a delay. Noah shook his head. That's the thing. It shouldn't be. Even with our distance, we're still close enough for fast responses. But there's nothing. A heavy silence fell over the crew. Try again, Ethan ordered. Noah nodded and resent the message. Then they waited. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3. Still nothing. Sophia swallowed hard. Could it be interference? Noah sighed. I don't know. It's possible. Space is unpredictable, but... Before he could finish, a loud beep filled the room. A message finally came through, but instead of a clear response, the signal was garbled. A mix of static and strange sounds, like a broken radio transmission. Ethan and Noah exchanged glances. That's not normal, Noah said quietly. Ethan took a deep breath. Try to clean up the audio. Let's find out if Earth is trying to tell us something. A growing tension. As Noah worked on clearing the signal, Ava turned to Ethan. What if it's not a technical issue? What if something else is interfering? Ethan didn't answer right away. He was a man of logic, but even he couldn't shake the strange feeling creeping into the room. Sophia folded her arms. This is how every horror movie starts, you know. Ryan forced a smile. Well, good thing this is real life and not a movie, right? Nobody laughed this time. For now, the crew focused on the mission, but deep inside, they all felt it, a strange unease settling over them. They were in the middle of deep space, farther than any human had ever gone, and for the first time since their journey began, they felt truly alone. Inside the skyrocket, the hum of machinery filled the air. The crew had just begun to settle after their earlier troubles when Noah Reed, the communications officer, noticed something unusual. At first, it was just a faint blip on his monitor, barely noticeable. But as he adjusted the signal filters, the sound became clearer. It was a pattern, a repeating transmission coming from deep space. His fingers flew across the controls, isolating the frequency. His heart pounded. Guys? You might want to hear this? Captain Ethan Blake floated over, his expression serious. What is it? Noah played the signal through the speakers. A series of rhythmic pulses echoed through the control room, slow, deliberate, and eerily precise. Ryan raised an eyebrow. Is that Morse code? Noah shook his head. Number, it's something else. It repeats every 48 seconds, exactly the same way. It's not natural. Sophia's theory, Dr. Sophia Carter, the ship's astrobiologist, listened carefully, her face unreadable. She had studied countless cosmic signals before, but this one felt different. This could be artificial, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Ava's eyes widened. Wait, are you saying this could be alien? Sophia nodded slowly. Possibly. The signal is too structured to be random space noise, and it's coming from one specific point, not scattered across the background radiation. Ethan folded his arms. How far is it coming from? Noah checked the readings. Roughly 2 light-years off our planned course. If we adjust our trajectory, we could reach the source in a few days. A tense silence filled the room. They all knew what this meant. The debate Ethan exhaled. All right, let's think this through. We have a mission to reach Erebus 9 and explore it. We can't just change course without a good reason. But this is a good reason, Sophia argued. If this signal is from an intelligent source, it could be the biggest discovery in human history. Ryan leaned back. Or it could be nothing. We're in uncharted space. Weird things happen out here. Ava sighed. We also have to consider fuel. If we change course and this turns out to be nothing, we waste resources. Noah looked at Ethan. Captain, this isn't just some random radio wave. This means something. If we ignore it, we might regret it forever. Ethan rubbed his temples. The weight of the decision rested on his shoulders. Finally, he spoke. I need some time to think. Keep analyzing the signal. I'll make the call soon. The crew nodded, but tension hung in the air. Were they about to make history, or walk into something they weren't ready for? Inside the skyrocket, the crew gathered around the control panel, staring at the strange signal blinking on the screen. Captain Ethan Blake rubbed his chin, deep in thought. Every protocol said to ignore uncharted signals and stay on mission. But something about this felt different. Noah Reed, the communications officer, leaned forward. It's still repeating, exactly the same way. It's not a natural phenomenon. Dr. Sophia Carter, the astrobiologist, crossed her arms. This could be a historic moment. A signal this structured? It might not be human. Ava Sinclair, the ship's engineer, looked uneasy. Or it could be a distress call. But from who? Ethan sighed, knowing the weight of the decision. We have enough supplies and fuel to make a short detour. We'll check it out, but if it looks dangerous, we turn back. Ryan Pierce, the pilot, gave a slight smirk. Guess we're about to make history one way or another. He adjusted the flight path, guiding the skyrocket toward the signal's source. A forgotten station hours passed as the crew anxiously monitored their approach. The signal led them to a barren gray moon orbiting a distant gas giant. But the real surprise was what floated above it: a space station. It was enormous, with a circular central hub and 4 long docking arms stretching into space. The exterior was worn but intact. Ryan let out a low whistle. That is not on any star charts. Ava checked her readings. It still has power, but no signs of life. Noah frowned. Then who's sending the signal? Sophia stared at the station's hull, where strange markings ran along the surface. Not Earth language, not any known writing. Ethan made his decision. We dock. The docking procedure. Ryan guided the skyrocket toward the closest docking port. Metal groaned as the clamps locked into place. Ava ran a systems check. Oxygen levels inside are stable, pressure holds. Whoever built this, they made it last. Noah adjusted his earpiece. Still no transmissions other than the signal. Ethan stood by the airlock, helmet in hand. Suit up. We don't know what we're walking into. Sophia adjusted her gloves. If no one's here, what's been keeping this place running? A deep silence filled the cabin as the airlock door hissed open. Into the unknown. The corridor ahead was dark, illuminated only by faint emergency lights. The air smelled stale, like an ancient, untouched place. They moved cautiously. Metal walls stretched ahead, covered in dust, yet the structure remained intact. Ryan shone his flashlight ahead. Looks like this place has been abandoned for years, maybe decades. Noah pointed at a flickering console on the wall. But the power's still on. Something is keeping this station alive. Sophia examined a nearby panel. I don't recognize this technology. It's advanced, but not ours. Ethan exhaled. Let's find the source of that signal. As they walked deeper into the station, a door slid open on its own. Ava stopped. Did anyone touch anything? No one had. Beyond the open door, something waited for them. The air inside the station was thick with dust, floating in slow motion in the low gravity. The crew's footsteps echoed through the empty corridors as they moved cautiously. Captain Ethan Blake led the way, his gloved hand gripping a flashlight as he scanned the walls. The station's interior was a mix of advanced technology and eerie decay. Dr. Sophia Carter walked beside him, her eyes scanning every inch. "There are signs of human design here," she muttered. "But it doesn't match anything from Earth's space programs." Ryan Pierce, the pilot, shifted uncomfortably. "I don't like this place. It feels off." Ava Sinclair, the ship's engineer, checked a panel on the wall. "Power is running at minimal levels. Life support is active, but barely. Someone, or something, kept this station functioning." Noah Reed, the communications officer, was busy with his handheld scanner. "There are no life signs. We're alone." Ryan frowned. "Then why does it feel like we're being watched?" The team reached a control room filled with dusty consoles and cracked screens. Ethan motioned for everyone to spread out. Sophia brushed dust off a panel and gasped. "These logs, they're in English." Noah hurried over. "That's impossible. No record of a mission to this region exists." Sophia tapped a button, and an old voice recording crackled to life. "Mission log 247, Commander James Holloway reporting. Year 2087. The station is failing. We are running out of time." The crew exchanged shocked glances. Ava's voice was barely above a whisper. 2087. That's over 50 years ago. How is this here?" Ryan stepped back. "This place shouldn't exist. And yet, here we are." As they searched the room, they found more clues. Personal items, faded mission patches, and uniforms marked with the insignia of an Earth space agency that had been shut down decades ago. Sophia held up a photo she found in a desk drawer. It showed a team of astronauts posing in front of a ship identical to the skyrocket. Noah felt a chill run down his spine. "This is impossible." Ethan exhaled slowly. "We're standing in the middle of a ghost story." Ryan suddenly turned his head. "Did you hear that?" he whispered. Everyone froze. Ava's fingers tightened around her flashlight. "Hear what?" Ryan swallowed. "A sound, like breathing." Noah's scanner beeped erratically. "I swear I just picked up a life sign for half a second. Then it vanished." The corridor ahead stretched into darkness, and suddenly, one of the emergency lights flickered, then turned off. Sophia's voice was tight. "We're not alone." The airlock behind them suddenly slammed shut. The station had just locked them inside. The crew stood frozen as the airlock behind them slammed shut. A loud clank echoed through the station, followed by the deep hum of machinery coming to life. Captain Ethan Blake turned sharply. "Ava, get that door open!" Ava Sinclair, the ship's engineer, hurried to the control panel. Her fingers danced across the screen. "I don't get it. This station was dead. How did the power come back on?" Noah Reed, the communications officer, stared at his scanner. "I don't know, but the signal is stronger now. It's coming from below us." Sophia Carter's heart pounded. Whatever is down there, it's waking up. Ryan Pierce, the pilot, exhaled sharply. That's not reassuring. A dull vibration rumbled beneath their feet. The ground panel near the center of the room split open, revealing a dark stairwell leading downward. Ethan looked at his team. "We came here for answers. Let's move." One by one, they descended into the unknown. The air grew heavier as they reached the bottom. The corridor was different, clean, metallic, and almost untouched by time. Strange, glowing symbols lined the walls, pulsing faintly. Sophia reached out, tracing her gloved fingers over one of the symbols. This isn't human. Ava shivered. Then who built it? At the end of the corridor, a massive circular door stood sealed. Noah scanned it. There's energy radiating from the other side. It's powerful. Ethan stepped forward and pressed his palm against the door. With a deep hiss, the metal split open. Inside, a massive chamber stretched before them, filled with strange consoles and alien markings. But in the center stood the artifact. It was a floating, metallic sphere covered in glowing blue patterns, hovering silently above a platform. Sophia's breath caught in her throat. My God. The sphere hummed softly, its patterns shifting as if responding to their presence. Ava shook her head. That thing is alive. Noah's scanner spiked wildly. It's emitting a signal, a strong one. Ryan took a cautious step forward. What if it's a distress beacon? Sophia frowned. Or a warning. Suddenly, the chamber shook violently. The glowing patterns on the walls flared bright red. The soft hum of the artifact turned into a deep, pulsing roar. Ava turned to Ethan, panic in her voice. Something is happening. Noah checked his scanner. The signal just went interstellar. Whatever we just activated, someone or something is going to hear it. The station systems came to life. Doors around the chamber slammed shut. The lights dimmed to an eerie red glow. A strange, automated voice crackled through unseen speakers. Containment breach detected. Security protocol engaged. Ryan clenched his fists. Containment breach? That means... Sophia turned to them, her face pale. That means we weren't supposed to find this. The floor trembled beneath them. Somewhere in the distance, something mechanical was moving. Ethan gritted his teeth. We need to get out of here now. The station shook again, the hum of the artifact's power resonating throughout the room. The walls flickered with warnings and flashing lights. We've triggered something, and it's bad. Ryan Pierce, the pilot, muttered as he desperately worked on the control panel. The countdown is starting, Noah Reed, the communications officer, announced, his voice laced with panic. We don't have much time. A deep, robotic voice echoed through the chamber. Countdown initiated. 15 minutes remaining until complete system lockdown. All intruders will be terminated. The words hit the crew like a punch. Ava Sinclair, the ship's engineer, swore loudly. We need to stop this countdown or we're all dead. The room buzzed with panic as they looked for an escape. But the truth was clear. The station had locked them in, and there was no easy way out. Ethan Blake, the captain, clenched his fists. Ava, Ryan, can you override the systems? Ava nodded. I'm trying, but the AI is blocking every command. Ryan's fingers danced across the console. We're fighting a ghost here. This station's AI is too advanced. Suddenly, the lights dimmed even further. The walls shimmered with an eerie blue glow, casting shadows that seemed to move on their own. Sophia Carter, the scientist, stepped forward, her voice shaky. The artifact? It's feeding power to the station. We triggered something we shouldn't have. Ryan glanced over at her. You said it was a warning? What was it warning us about? Sophia hesitated, her face pale. I don't know. But whatever is coming, it's going to be bad. Ava turned back to the console. If we don't stop the countdown, we'll be trapped forever. We won't even have time to get back to the skyrocket. Ethan walked to the center of the room, scanning his team with narrowed eyes. Here we're running out of options and fast. But I'm starting to think this isn't just an accident. We've been set up. Everyone froze. What do you mean? Noah asked. Ethan looked around the room, his gaze sharp. The station's AI was dormant for decades. We came here looking for answers, and now it's all coming online, as if it's expecting us. And that's not all. He turned toward Ryan and Ava. You two have been trying to override the lockdown, but why hasn't it worked? And why did the station come to life just as we got here? Ava's eyes widened. Ethan, we're trying. This isn't... Ethan raised a hand. I'm not blaming you, but someone here knows more than they're telling. The rest of us have been in the dark, and it's getting harder to ignore. Ryan shifted uncomfortably, his eyes darting around the room. Sophia spoke quietly. We've all been in danger from the moment we set foot here. Whoever is behind this is keeping something from us. Ethan's expression darkened. And I think someone here might be involved. A tense silence filled the room. Ryan and Ava exchanged uneasy glances. Captain, you're accusing one of us? Ryan asked, his voice steady but strained. Ethan met his gaze. I'm not accusing anyone yet, but if someone here knows how to stop this countdown, now would be the time to speak up. Ava's hands trembled as she continued to work on the panel. I swear, I'm doing everything I can. Ethan paced in front of them, his mind racing. We don't have time for this. We need to stick together and find a way out. But the way this station is reacting, it feels too calculated. Suddenly, the walls flashed with red, and the countdown timer blinked. 10 minutes remaining. Ethan turned to the others, his eyes burning with determination. Everyone get to the skyrocket, now. The crew quickly moved toward the exit, but as they did, the doors slammed shut. Not again, Noah muttered. The station's locked us in again. Ethan's face grew hard. We're not leaving. Not yet. We need to stop this countdown. Ava shouted in frustration, her voice rising. I can't override it. Whoever designed this system... The lights flickered, and the station's AI spoke again, its voice robotic and cold. Intruders detected. Lockdown will not be lifted. Initiating defense measures. Noah cursed under his breath. Defense measures? What does that mean? It means, Ethan said, his voice tight with fear, we're running out of time and options. Sophia's face went pale. I told you this place wasn't what it seemed. We should have left when we had the chance. The first strike. Suddenly, a loud clang sounded from the far end of the room. A door slid open, revealing a dark corridor. From within, a massive robotic figure began to emerge, its glowing red eyes fixed on them. The crew froze, staring at the towering machine. Ethan took a step forward. We need to get to the ship now. But as the crew began to retreat, they heard another voice, a voice that was both familiar and haunting. Leaving so soon? They turned to see Ryan Cole standing at the far end of the corridor, his hands raised. I think you've all been looking in the wrong place. The team gasped. Ryan, what are you doing? Ryan's expression shifted, his eyes cold. I'm sorry, but you've all been in the way. The crew stared in shock as the robotic figure advanced toward them. Ryan wasn't their ally. He had been working with the station's AI all along. Ethan's heart sank. You betrayed us. Ryan's lips curled into a sly smile. I had no choice. This station was never meant for you. The station trembled as its AI repeated its cold warning. Intruders detected. Countdown will not be lifted. Initiating termination sequence. Ethan's pulse pounded in his ears. We need to move. Now. Sophia's fingers flew over the control panel. I don't understand. The AI isn't just responding to us. It's been waiting for us. Noah, who had been silent until now, suddenly collapsed to his knees, clutching his head. Noah. Ava ran to him, but he waved her off, his breathing ragged. I don't... His voice broke off into a whisper. Ethan's gut twisted. Something was wrong. Noah looked up, and his eyes, they weren't his own. A strange, distant glow flickered in his pupils, like static from a broken screen. Sophia gasped. His neural implant, it's been compromised. Ethan turned sharply. By what? Noah blinked rapidly, his voice low and distorted. They called me. Ava's stomach dropped. Who? Noah exhaled slowly, his words sending chills down their spines. The ones who sent the signal. The realization hit all at once. Noah had been communicating with something beyond the station. The skyrocket hadn't just stumbled onto this place. They had been led here. Suddenly, the station's AI voice deepened, its tone shifting. The skyrocket's arrival was not coincidence. Your ship is required for acquisition. Ethan stepped forward, fists clenched. What do you mean? A new holographic interface lit up in the control room. It displayed a map of deep space, with the skyrocket's flight path carefully plotted. A red marker pulsed at their exact location. Your ship contains technology necessary for completion. Your crew was permitted to board. Your departure, however, is not authorized. Sophia's eyes widened. This station wasn't abandoned. It was waiting for us. Noah groaned as if resisting some unseen force. They needed a way to escape. Ava swore under her breath. They don't just want us dead. They want our ship. Ethan turned to the others. Then we're not letting that happen. We take back control, override this system, and get out. Ava checked her wrist console. I can force a hard reboot of the AI, but I need access to the core systems. Ryan, still standing near the door, smirked. That's not happening. You're all playing a game you don't understand. Ethan's jaw clenched. Then let's change the rules. He lunged forward, tackling Ryan to the ground. The two struggled as alarms blared louder. 5 minutes until system lockdown. Noah, fighting whatever was controlling him, looked at Ava. You have to do it now. She hesitated. What if the AI fights back? Sophia placed a hand on her shoulder. Then we fight harder. Ethan, pinning Ryan down, shouted, Do it! Ava took a deep breath and pressed the override command. For a split second, the station went silent. Then everything exploded into chaos. The station shook violently, metal groaning under immense pressure. The AI's countdown echoed through the halls as the emergency lights flickered. Structural integrity failure imminent. Evacuate immediately. Ava's fingers flew across the console, her breath coming in sharp gasps. I got the engines restarted. The skyrocket is back online. Captain Ethan gritted his teeth, eyes locked on Noah. The crew had seconds to escape, but Noah wasn't moving. Noah stood in the center of the command room, staring blankly ahead. His body was there, but his mind wasn't. The strange glow in his eyes pulsed rhythmically, as if syncing with the station itself. Ethan stepped forward cautiously. Noah, we need to go, now. Noah barely turned his head. I can't leave. Ava's eyes widened. What? Noah clenched his fists. They showed me the truth. We were never supposed to return. Ryan let out an exasperated breath. Oh, Noah, snap out of it! We don't have time for this! The walls around them cracked, chunks of debris falling from the ceiling as alarms blared louder. 1 minute until complete collapse. Ethan reached for Noah's arm, but Noah stepped back. I'm staying. Sophia's heart pounded. Noah, please. Whatever you think you've found, it's not worth your life. Noah smiled faintly. I finally understand, Sophia. This isn't the end, it's the beginning. Ethan cursed under his breath. There was no time left. Ava looked to him desperately. Ethan, we have to go, now! Ethan hesitated for a split second, then nodded. Let's move. The team raced down the corridors, dodging collapsing beams and sparks raining from the ceiling. The station was in freefall, the AI no longer responding, its systems consumed by whatever force had taken over Noah. Ava led the way, her boots pounding against the shaking floor. Almost there! The airlock was in sight. Ryan slammed the emergency override, and the doors hissed open. The skyrocket stood before them, its engines humming with renewed power. Sophia glanced back. Noah was still standing in the distance, the eerie glow in his eyes growing brighter. Then, the doors slammed shut behind them. Noah was gone. The crew scrambled inside, securing the hatch as Ava threw herself into the pilot's seat. Engines at full power! Launching in 3, 2... The station gave one last shudder before the entire structure erupted in flames, a massive shockwave ripping through space. The skyrocket shot forward, barely outrunning the collapsing station. The impact sent them spinning, alarms screaming inside the ship. Ava fought the controls. Hold on! With a final thrust, the skyrocket broke free, the wreckage of the station disappearing behind them. Silence. They had escaped. But Noah was gone, and deep in the cargo bay, the alien artifact began to pulse. The skyrocket drifted through the endless void, its engines humming steadily once more. Inside the cockpit, Captain Ethan watched the distant explosion fade into darkness. The space station, along with Noah, was gone. Silence filled the cabin. No one spoke. Sophia sat with her head in her hands, exhaustion and grief etched across her face. Ryan broke the silence. I still don't get it. What the hell happened back there? Ava, adjusting the ship's trajectory, let out a long breath. We were lured there. That station wasn't abandoned. It was a trap. Ethan turned his gaze to Sophia. And Noah? Sophia shook her head slowly. I don't know. He changed. Something changed him. Ryan leaned back, running a hand through his hair. I should have stopped him. Ava looked at him. You tried. Ethan sighed. There was no saving him. He made his choice. For a long time, no one spoke. The ship's lights flickered. Ava frowned, tapping on the console. That's weird. Power fluctuations. Ryan's heart skipped a beat. Tell me it's not the engines. Ava shook her head. Engines are fine. It's coming from the cargo bay? The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Sophia stood up. I'll check it out. Ethan followed. I'm coming with you. They made their way through the dimly lit corridors, the hum of the ship growing distorted. A strange buzzing sound filled the air. The cargo bay doors slid open, and there it was. The alien artifact. It floated inches above the floor, pulsating softly with a bluish-green light. Sophia stared in shock. That wasn't happening before. Ethan clenched his jaw. Something activated it. Suddenly, the ship's AI crackled to life. Incoming transmission. Unknown origin. The crew rushed back to the cockpit. Ava's fingers flew across the controls. It's coming from deep space, no known source. Ryan swallowed hard. Please don't say it's coming from where we just left. Ava paled. It is. The transmission played through the speakers. At first, only static. Then, a voice. Noah's voice. It's not over. The artifact in the cargo bay flashed blinding white. And then, darkness.